Welcome back to episode 6. Having unexpectedly killed what might well be an immortal conquistador vampire, the players are now facing up to how will they travel on with Augustus Larkin, knowing that he knows that we know that he knows that she knows that they know that we know. Trust will be in short supply, but there'll be no shortage of intrigue on the road to Puno. Let's pass it over to our Keeper of Arcane Lore for a more fulsome update.
Okay, you left Lima on the morning of Monday the 21st of March in 2 trucks with Larkin as planned. After reading an unnerving story in the local newspaper about a familiar-sounding man being killed by a tram not far from the Hotel España the previous evening, the first day of your drive took you down the coast to Nazca, famed for its mysterious geoglyphs, where you spent the night at a cattle farm on the outskirts of the town. It was there that you first realised that you seemed to have an uninvited guest along, when someone looking a lot like Luis de Mendoza crept out of hiding from the back of Larkin's truck under the cover of darkness and headed away from the farm towards the town, returning several hours later. Noting the next morning that Larkin wasn't keen for you to see inside his truck and was also able to resist Jacob's charms and trying to persuade him to reveal the location of the pyramid, you decided not to force the issue and to see how things developed, and spent the day travelling further south along the South Pacific coast to Cumana, where you ended your day at the Hotel Con Vista El Mar, the Ocean View Hotel. At this point, after Larkin had retired, it was decided that searching his truck for signs of an intruder would be prudent. Jacob and Alex entered the truck and found what they had feared. Luis de Mendoza was still alive and hiding in a large trunk. A short but terrible fight ensued, with de Mendoza transforming into his true Karasiri self and draining Jacob's body fat, inflicting a terrible wound upon his chest in the process. Lex brought proceedings to a swift end with 3 well-aimed bullets, and you had to move quickly to get the trunk containing de Mendoza's body into your room through the window before guests and staff came to investigate the gunshots. Realising that the body was beginning to regenerate, you placed the golden ward upon de Mendoza and watched as it gradually reduced his form to a shriveled husk. All that now remains of the conquistador are his hat, sword, and moth-eaten clothes. It is now a couple of hours after the incident, and all is quiet in the Hotel Con Vista El Mar once again. Okay, so, yeah, you are sitting in the room, all of you together. So the rest of the hotel has finally gone quiet. Stanton has been tending to Jacob's wound as best he can. You are conscious of the fact that you do still have the large chest with de Mendoza's, albeit shriveled husk of a body in it. And yeah, as you kind of been keeping an eye on it, as the golden bar that you've got does it seems to do its work upon his form. As I said, now when you open the chest, you can see that his form was all but disappeared into kind of dust and desiccation. But obviously, because of the fact it wasn't a fire or any kind of real heat, his clothes, hat, and sword still remain in the bottom of the chest, untouched by the action of the gold upon his form. And that's it. Jackson says, "Do you think we should potentially get that chest back in the truck?"
I think we probably should, but we should also do something about the sword and the clothes. Is the...
No, it's not magical.
Gotta get it valued.
Sorry, I couldn't resist that.
Is the if it was magical, I couldn't resist it either. Is the floor carpeted? Are there floorboards? So we're on the ground floor, aren't we?
Yeah, on the ground floor, it is carpeted, but they're not fitted carpet. So it's like a big rug, basically, with it's threadbare and kind of there's about a couple of inches around the edges of it. So it's kind of like a ragged carpet come rug scenario.
I'm wondering if we lever up a floorboard and put the sword and the clothes under the floorboards. It'll be a long time before anybody discovered them.
Yeah, probably never. I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah, I'm on board with that.
And then when it's a bit later on in the evening, when we think everything's completely quietened down, we'll return the trunk to the lorry
Okay, who is going to retrieve the clothes, the sword, and the hat out of the trunk?
Lex will do it.
Okay, so you lean into the trunk. You take out the golden bar, I presume, first.
Oh, yes. Put that back in my bag.
Okay. You put the golden bar back into
I
your
wonder if we
bag.
could melt that down to make
Lots
bullets.
of them.
And
Yeah.
if you shot a golden bullet into one of those creatures, what would happen? It'd probably burn through them, wouldn't it? Anyway, we do not have the means to create golden bullets, but the idea of maybe trying to break it up further so that we have a piece each might be useful at some point.
Lex, as you're fishing around to retrieve stuff out of the trunk, your hand falls upon something hard underneath the cloak. There seems to be a square object, probably metal, that was hidden upon De Mendoza's person. You kind of obviously move the clothes aside, and you find what looks to be a golden mask, about 15 centimeters square. It depicts a stylized face, largely made up of blocky geometrical shapes raised from the surface, and it's solid with no eye holes.
Is it completely smooth? There's no mouth or nose holes either.
No, there's no holes, but I will show you what it looks like. If you look
cool.
on the roll 20, just bear with me.
Oh, okay.
Can you see that?
I can't see that.
Okay. Yeah. So that's the one side. The other side, as you kind of, well, I presume that you're going to pick it up, or you're just looking at it at the moment. It's just kind of at the bottom of the. You've pulled the clothes to one side, and it's just staring up at you from the bottom of the trunk.
Yeah, no, I'll pick it up.
Okay. Yeah. So the back of the mirror is unadorned, but it's polished to a high sheen. It's basically it looks like it is a mirror on one side and a mask on the other. Can you make an archaeology roll, please? Anybody who has any skill in it?
I can say, me? You talking to me?
No. Well, you can. If you
You
like.
can have a go.
We can have a go, yeah.
Come on, somebody roll a 1. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got to try this.
Oh, no.
That's
Well,
a no from
South
me.
America.
Yeah. Well, what Stanton said, really, it looks kind of South American, which is hardly surprising considering that you're in Peru. But yeah, you can't really. You have it kind of reminds you of one of the items that Larkin showed you previously in its design, in a kind of blocky design. But other than that, you can't really deduce anything further.
Those 4 holes at the side.
Obviously, at the moment, it's so you're just Lex. You're holding it, just looking at the front, I guess.
Yeah. If I turn it over and it's completely mirrored finished on the back.
Yeah.
That's unusual.
That is
to
weird.
polish something that highly.
Can you roll percentile dice for me, Lex?
Don't look at your reflection in it.
I think that might be a bit too late. I have rolled a 74.
Okay.
Yeah, if you look into it long while wearing it, see too deep into your soul and
look
go
into the
mad.
darkness, and then darkness looks back.
I think I had a meeting like that at work today.
Is that not Nietzsche? No, Damon Albarn.
Okay. Yeah, it's a bit weird it being so highly polished. I mean, if it's old, it looks old. Does everyone think this looks old? I think it looks weird.
Very old.
It's very weird that it's so polished. I don't really like it. It's a bit unnerving. I don't like it. So I put it in the bag with the other gold.
Put it in the bag with the other gold. I suspect, given that it was being carried by De Mendoza, it probably doesn't have the same effect on him as that other piece. So it suggests it has another purpose.
Yeah.
And it's important to him.
Okay. I shall protect it.
And I would suggest perhaps not looking too closely into the mirror if these artifacts have some kind of power.
Yeah.
It's not going to be. It's not going to be good.
I feel a bit weird having glanced at it, but not strange weird.
It looks something similar to one of the items that Larkin showed us. So I wonder whether it's come from the pyramid. Maybe.
Yeah, well, that would be. Maybe he took it originally when he
yeah
was there. but it obviously serves
When you
some
say
kind of purpose.
when he was there, do you mean like in 1541?
Yes, I
Jeez.
do. Get used to it.
Oh wow. Okay.
I think we're all going to have to slightly adjust our worldviews off the back of what we've just seen this evening.
Yeah, you got it, Douglas.
So
No,
could this have
yes, because I
turned
just
him
put it in my
into
bag.
I don't know. It's just if you let's go to the realms of beyond the realms of possibility. It's a mask that is mirrored on one side, the side that faces your eyes, and you've got no eye holes. Perhaps it's symbolic of looking into yourself, or perhaps second sight of some description. See the unseen. Well,
ceremonial? Obviously, 'cause
unless
it's not very
it
practical.
has some kind of bizarre ability that has some purpose at the temple. So I wouldn't suggest that anyone tries it on to see
Yeah,
if it has an effect.
maybe
Yeah.
it's become clearer
Well,
when we
maybe
get
we
to
could
discover
ask
flashbacks.
Augustus. Did we say that it was when you say it was similar to one that he showed us?
Similar design. Yeah. He
Or
showed
was it
you.
actually a mask? Did we see?
No.
Was it? It wasn't, but
No.
it had the same kind of design to it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same
He showed you a
pattern,
necklace and
wasn't
like a jug as well.
Okay.
And I think it was. I can't remember. I think it was one of the. Wasn't the necklace? It was what? It was the other thing that it showed us that kind of had this similar kind of. I think it's from what I remember, it kind of looks like something that could come from the Tiwanaku site, which is just over the border in Bolivia. That's what it reminds me of.
Right.
Which again would be in keeping with. It would be a lot older than the Incan necklace that he showed us, but it will be in keeping with what we know about the pyramid, because it's thought that it's potentially some kind of offshoot of the Tiwanaku people that actually built this pyramid in the first place. I wouldn't mind having a look at it.
You want to have a look?
Well,
okay. Well, I'll see why not. You seem to have more expertise in it than we do. I'm just being overly cautious. Seeing as the other gold has unknown effects, I would be wary of that as well. But handle it carefully and tell us what you think.
I'll get it back out of the bag.
Okay. He just takes it off you fairly gingerly, kind of turns it around over in his hands, looks at the mirrored side of it. You see his eyes suddenly, as he's looking into the mirror, you see his eyes suddenly widen, and he's like staring at it, like holding it. Like you can see the white on his knuckles as he
push it up to push it away so that he's not looking at it anymore. Pull it off out of his hand.
Steps back and rubs his forehead, shakes his head. Oh, Jesus! Oh, I saw something in there. That was weird. Oh, that is not normal. You were right. I shouldn't have looked in there.
What did you see?
I saw a pyramid, like on a dusty plateau surrounded by a high wall. There were kind of a bunch of intricate carvings on the wall. The land all around it was kind of arid, and there was no plants or anything. It was, weird. And then there was a kind of eerie whistling or piping sound that I could hear on the wind. Felt like I was kind of standing there for ages looking at it. How long was I holding it for?
Literally a moment.
Yeah, that's not right.
Okay, so we have an item that provides visions, real or imagined. Lexi, you didn't actually see anything, you just felt something.
Yeah, it just felt unnerving, just weird. But I didn't see anything like that. Do you think that was like a vision of the past as we're going, all in on this now? Or is it just like it can see into a distance, like that's what that place is like right now? And when we get there, it'll be just like you described, maybe.
Like, it could just be a view of the pyramid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You say it felt strange. So how did it feel strange?
Well, just looking at a vision in a mirror like that is a bit odd, isn't it?
Okay, so but it was more the kind of like this feels wrong, as opposed to like you weren't being.
I almost felt like I was
into it.
And the weird thing was that I kind of felt like I was there. I mean, I could hear the wind. I could hear that kind of piping sound. I mean, that's weird in itself, isn't it? It's bad enough seeing like a vision, but actually being able to hear it and like almost like felt like I was actually standing looking at it. Just a really, really odd sensation.
Do we want to test it further now that we know that it's producing an effect, somebody could look into it, and then if they start to look like they're unable to respond of their own accord, we put it away from them. If they can keep talking and describing, if they can't talk, then we put it away.
I never felt threatened or like I was in danger or anything. It's just, I think it was just the sensation of being able to see and hear and feel that kind of.
Does anybody want to try it?
Not me.
No.
Very well.
Not particularly.
Let us save
Not
that
unless
one
we
for
have.
another date then.
I think pressing
Well, we're putting him under the floorboards, aren't we?
Mendoza.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what.
for sure.
That's what.
Gentlemen,
No.
I thought it
I
was
can't think of
items
anything else at the
on the
moment,
license.
but are we absolutely sure that de Mendoza can't come back? He's been
No.
killed. He's been killed twice.
Well, they say vampires, if they're
Yeah, but
exposed
he's
to
not a
sunlight, they
vampire of the
turn to
traditional
dust.
sense, is he? Because
Common.
he was walking around in the daytime
No.
anyway.
By traditional sense, do you mean fictional?
Yes. He's not one of your common or garden fictional vampires. He's a
Yeah.
special, real vampire.
South American fat-sucking vampire.
Yeah. The invasive species, they got introduced and they wiped out the indigenous vampires. Kind of like the grey and the red squirrels.
I'd do it myself, gentlemen, but I'd be happier if we could take what's left of him and scatter him to the four winds.
Yeah.
Okay.
In answer to your question, Jacob, I don't know. I'm struggling to understand which bank of knowledge I'm going to use to come up with an answer as to whether he's dead or not.
Unfortunately, it was resorting to flippancy at the point where all logic has blown out the window.
Well, judging by the state, I think judging by the reaction of this thing, if we think this was kind of his nemesis, which it appears to have been,
then he has been destroyed.
if he comes back from this, I don't think we can destroy him.
Yeah, I mean, is it literally dust now, or is there?
It is literally kind of just dust and a few bone fragments like that are blackened.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it hasn't had that much of an effect.
Well, let's.
Like he's been cremated.
We need to get rid of his body, and I think putting him on whatever we decide. And I think very quickly we also need to come up with a story, which if any police or anybody arrives, which is likely to happen, that we actually tell them what our version of events is.
No, we have nothing. We heard gunshots, and that's it.
We accept our version of what events?
Yeah.
Nothing.
We heard a commotion, but being strangers in town, we decided to keep ourselves to ourselves and not get involved.
Okay, I like that. But that relies on us putting the chest back in, doesn't it?
Yes, I know we need to put the chest back as soon as possible and not ideally not being seen. Okay, so let's be a bit quicker about this. Let us split de Mendoza's ashes into 4 separate piles. We can put one under the floorboards. We'll scatter one out of an upstairs window, and the other 2 we can take to other places. So it'll be hard for him to recompose himself if he's split into quarters. Not that I think he's coming back anyway, but that's seems to be the most effective way. Or we keep a quarter of him in a bottle to prevent him from coming back whole.
Although that might actually
draw him towards us.
Well,
taking him with us.
If he reforms from that particular...
What if we end up with just 4 Mendozas from that plan?
I think we might be overthinking this.
Do you think?
I think he's destroyed. I think that's the... But if it makes Jacob feel more comfortable, which I think at this stage is important, then we will
Agreed.
split the body. We'll put everything else under the floorboards, and let's get this.
Get the chest back out quick.
Back out.
I'll deal with the chest. You guys deal with the rest of the chaos.
You're gonna need, you're probably going. Well, you're gonna need 2 people for the chest.
I'll do that. I'll do it with Lexi.
Okay.
I'll get working on these floorboards.
I think Jacob, you best rest.
I'm taking a back seat at the moment. I need to rest.
Okay. So Douglas and Lex, you pass the between the two of you, pass the now empty chest back out through the downstairs window. The lorry is parked hardly any distance away, so all the lights are off in the hotel. So you quickly carry the chest over and place it back, which is fairly easy to. It's quite light now that it's got nothing in it. And you're just going to put it back exactly where it came from?
Yeah, exactly as it was. Seal it all back up again and go back to the room.
Obviously, it has bullet holes in it, and it's kind of blood stained as well in certain places, as is the back of the truck, got bullet holes in it.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay, Stanton, you don't find it too difficult to pry away some floorboards, and you're going to stow the very old sword and hat underneath there, and the clothes as well, yeah? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, so roll back the carpet.
Okay, you stuff them all in.
Carpet back on.
That's a fairly easy job as well. Okay, so yeah, within half an hour, not even that long, within a quarter of an hour, you've done both of those jobs, and all is still remaining quiet within the hotel. It's going to be getting on for about 2:00 in the morning now. Jacob is lying resting. So is the plan now for you guys all just to stay in this room until morning?
Yeah.
Okay. What about sleep? Because there's only 2 beds in here.
Yeah,
I think maybe split into 2 rooms.
Me and Douglas are going to a different room then.
Jacob,
As we just finished doing that.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So Douglas and Lex go into the next room because you had the two downstairs rooms on the front. So are you going to go into sleep both together, or not together at the same time, or are you going to watch? Because you haven't got many hours left now before dawn. There's only about 4 hours left.
Sleep. Make sure the door's locked.
Just
against it, and then just sleep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Garden under the pillow. Safety on.
Very right.
Okay. You are awakened shortly after dawn by the sounds of you hear some horses' hooves outside your window. Obviously, you've probably got the window open still because it's quite warm. You hear the sound of horses' hooves. Some speaking in Spanish, of which you can hear the word "policía" mentioned a few times. And you can see that there is indeed a mounted policeman outside, who appears to be speaking to some of the staff in the hotel. And presently you can hear the kind of conversation taken inside. And then footsteps down the corridor, the room where you're staying, and then a knock on the door. This is your room first, Douglas and Lex. What are you going to do?
I'll get up and answer it.
Okay, you see a member of staff from the hotel standing at the door, and behind her is the police officer. He's wearing a dark blue police uniform with a green cap, and he says, "Hablas español?"
No, I'm sorry, I'm English. Do you speak English?
He shakes his head.
I'll shrug.
Step on set.
He shrugs again.
Let's try.
He says something to you again in Spanish.
I just shrug. I don't understand you.
He disparo de arma, and he goes. He puts his thumb and forefinger up, and he goes. Disparo de arma.
Put my hands up.
I
put my hands up. Look at Douglas. Like, what's he talking about?
I'll shake my head and go. No. In the night, I'll do sleeping symbol, and then the gunshots like he did, and then I'll mime me waking up, looking scared, and then going back to sleep again.
He says, "See."
Just point to the bed, sleeping.
Yeah, and I'll do a symbol of somebody walking with my fingers, and put my hand up saying, "No, we didn't walk."
Que vista?
No.
He says something again to the member of staff, and kind of walks off down to the next corridor, to the next door, which happens to be where the other 3 are. Okay, he knocks on the door. Jacob Stanton, and Jackson are in that room, and you've heard the conversation through the paper thin walls and doors.
That was no conversation.
I'm going to make sure I've got a fresh top on, so I'm concealing the injury as best I can.
Jackson says. Jackson puts his hat on and says, "Don't worry, I got this." And he opens the door and kind of he opens the door. He sees the policeman standing there, and you see him Jackson puts his hand on the policeman's shoulders, and takes him off up the corridor, speaking to him in Spanish like a long lost friend. As he walks up the corridor, you can see Jackson reaching for his own back pocket to pull out a wad of the notes. And they just go away and start chatting. Presently, Jackson comes back and says that, that's all sorted. It's amazing what a few soul can do.
Well done, Jackson.
I told him we didn't see anything. We did hear a bit of a commotion, but that was all, and we didn't go out of our rooms because we're strangers and we didn't really feel like it was a good idea. That also explains why we're all staying in one room. So, Also, the report is that the police have been told that there was a gunshot outside, or several gunshots outside the hotel, quite close, but they don't know who or where. Nobody's seen anything, so I think we should be okay. Until the lorry driver looks in the back of his truck and finds a load of bullet holes. Let's hope he doesn't do that until later.
Well, to be honest, what's he going to say?
Well, exactly. It could be anybody in there, couldn't it?
Yeah.
We don't know anything. So let's just... I think less is more. I think that's a good plan. The less we tell them, the more chance we've got of being believed. Okay, so the policier, he spends another kind of quarter of an hour or so chatting to the rest of the guests, and then he goes upstairs. Eventually, he mounts his horse and disappears off. And his leaving is followed quite shortly after by Larkin coming down the stairs. Are you staying in your separate rooms?
No, I think we're probably once we're up and about, we'll all just go back into the same room.
Okay.
To discuss. Well, we'll all be in the same place when
he comes and knocks
the
on the door.
Well, drunk locals, I reckon.
Keep from Larkin the fact
That's
that
what
I'm
we can
injured.
say.
He's going to ask some awkward questions otherwise.
That is true.
I'll just say that because you obviously look under the weather,
you're going
must
to
have
need to put
picked
something
up
on
some
over that,
bug.
because your clothes are all going to be ripped as well, though. I suppose you'll have some other clothes, won't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, hide all the blood-stained clothes.
There's a knock on the door.
I'll answer it.
It is Larkin. Oh.
Good morning, Augustus.
Yes. Good morning. Seems that there was some sort of excitement in the night. What was that all about?
We were going to ask you the same question. The police were doing the rounds, but unfortunately he didn't speak English, so I wasn't much use to him. Something about some maybe locals, but there was certainly gunshots that we heard. Most concerning. We decided to stay in our rooms in case it turned out to be bandits or some such. Did not want to get involved, not being locals. What about you? Did you see anything?
Hold on a second before you ask that question. Can I get you to make a...
I don't care if he doesn't believe me.
You don't care? That's not very nice. Very good for going about things, is it? What, you want to fail automatically? Is that what you're telling me?
I'm not going to earn a tick for that test.
This is a lot. I know that he knows that they know that we know that.
Okay, can you make a fast talk roll, please?
Okay, that's a success.
Okay, thank you. It's just a normal success there, yeah?
Just a normal success, yeah.
Okay. Oh, I see. Strange that you shouldn't hear anything yourselves, just being almost right next to the...
Oh, no, we certainly heard the gunshots. We just decided that it would be foolish to involve ourselves in anything that would lead us to become suspects. Last thing I want is for you to have to get us out of jail before we could travel forward to the pyramid.
Yes, very...
Or worse still.
Very wise, very
get us out of the
wise.
mall.
Yes, very wise indeed. You should keep yourselves out of trouble. That is very...
Absolutely.
Very, very wise. So anyway, tonight we should be in Puno, By this time next week, we'll have a lot more than just a couple of feet of that gold inlay that you carry and guard so closely. He says, looking at you, Lex.
Well, that's him.
And this will be ours and not borrowed from a museum. We'll be rich and famous in equal measure. He rubs his hands together. Right. Short breakfast and we'll be off.
Excellent.
Turns around and says, by the way, why have you brought that with? We're supposed to be taking things away, not bringing them back.
What, the gold?
The gold that your friend there, he carries it around in his backpack like it's some sort of baby.
Well,
I wouldn't.
we have
carry
never
a-
seen.
I wouldn't
so
carry a
much-
baby in a backpack. I just want to make that absolutely clear. I'm not a meathead.
It never leaves your side. Is what I'm trying to convey.
Well,
Where
surely
would you
if-
Where would you have me put it?
Well,
Well, if I would have left it behind if I was you. You realise you won't be able to carry that with you when we go to the pyramid. Far too heavy.
I
looks
glanced.
to me
I
like
glanced
he could.
down at my biceps. I'll be all right.
well, to be honest, Augustus, you've obviously seen the writing on. If we want to uncover the secrets of the pyramid, then having this may help us solve the rest of the puzzle. Admittedly, we don't know what this means yet, but it could be part of a bigger writing. Could be part of a larger text, and this is the key to its secrets. It'd be foolish
When you say
to
it's secrets,
leave it behind.
it's quite simple. It's gold, and we're just going to take it.
Yes, but what if there's a secret treasure room? We know the stories about the pyramids in Egypt where there are secret rooms where treasures are located. Maybe there may be clues to even more treasures than just the gold on the walls. Imagine that.
Imagine indeed.
It's not like we're just going to melt this down into gold bars. Golden artifacts, as I'm sure you're aware, are far more expensive and worth far much
Yes,
more
I know
than
that,
just
of
gold
course, but
bars.
I'm just curious as to why you're taking it back. That's all. Anyway, it's up to you, I suppose. Up to you. Right. Yes, I'll see you in the trucks.
Okay, we'll see you shortly.
He takes a deep breath. You see that he's frowning quite heavily. Can everybody make a psychology roll, please?
I get the impression he doesn't want us taking it back to make it the pyramid whole again. Why have I?
No.
Oh, no, I failed. By almost.
Okay. Is that everybody failing? Okay, that's cool.
I'm
Okay.
just about to fail.
Fine. Right, anything that you guys want to do before you have a quick bit of something to eat and drink, and then ready to head out?
I was just thinking, gentle. I was thinking back to the translation that Rizzo did, and there's mention in there of gold tunnels inlaid with intricate gold carvings.
Mm-hmm.
Given what we know about this piece of gold, would it be protecting against something?
Yes, and my assumption, having read it, that the gold itself was for protection against the creature that attacked you, and perhaps removing the gold damaged that protection in some way, or released something maybe. And we should take this gold back to reseal the pyramid. That was how I was reading it.
Yep, certainly. It's
Something
either
in.
keeping something out or keeping something in.
The act of making it whole again.
And I think
would
keeping
seal it.
something in.
I would concur with that, and that's what Professor Sanchez how he interpreted it also. Which and your observation earlier, Douglas, that he doesn't want us to take it back is exactly right. That's becoming more and more obvious.
Mhm.
Which is obviously why he wanted Lex to get rid of it.
Yes.
And but the problem we have now is that he knows that we're going to take it back. So I have a feeling that
He will try at some point. He will try and prevent us doing that.
He's already tried.
Again.
Yeah.
But he's losing. The closer we get, the fewer allies he has to assist in that way, which means he may, at some point, try to do something about it himself directly, using whatever hypnotic powers he seems to hold. So we should be doubly careful and not to be caught on our own individually with him.
If he becomes desperate, you will never know. Yeah, I mean, he's just... Yeah, I totally agree with all of that. Okay. Right, so you... Can you just remind me what you did with D. Mendoza then? You put some of him under the floorboard. What did you do? What are we going to do with the rest of him?
I chucked some of his ashes out of the window from my room. And I don't know what happened to the other 2 bits.
We were going to
sprinkle them out the lorry
maybe?
as we go. Sprinkle them along the road.
Yes.
Okay.
Hopefully,
be difficult to do
without
that,
the driver.
really, isn't it?
Okay, well, in which case, we just take it outside, walk
Maybe we
50
just
yards up the road in one direction, dump it, walk 50 yards in the other direction, dump it.
Okay.
If we can find a river, sling it in the river.
Wait until we come for a break on the journey.
Coast,
you don't want much, do you? A river.
You've got plenty. There's plenty. You can just scatter it around, no problem at all.
Do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Next to a crossroads.
Running water and all that.
Yeah, exactly. On a full stomach.
On a full moon.
Right.
Okay. When you get outside after you've eaten, you get outside and the lorries are kind of there ready to go. You can see that the 2 lorry drivers and Larkin are in quite a kind of not heated but quite an in-depth conversation. And
does it look like the back of their lorry's been opened?
Yeah, and your lorry, the lorry driver. So Jose, who's the other lorry driver, the one that's driving the lorry that Larkin's in, he keeps pointing to the lorry, and he's quite angry about something.
Okay, I'll walk over and say, Augustus, problems?
No problems. I've been thinking though, with all of these kind of goings on, maybe it spooked me slightly, but maybe one of you would like to ride with me today. Maybe say, I think I could possibly do with a bodyguard. Maybe Lex. He's big and strong.
I think it would probably be more advisable if we all travelled together. Obviously, all our equipment is in this lorry. Perhaps
And Lex, you were going to finish your tale about your last hockey competition. I still want to hear the end of that.
Oh, of course. Sorry. We got here so quickly. The time just flew by yesterday. So I was starting on the 3rd line. Oh, no, I'll finish it later.
We haven't got... What about one of you others then?
We'll be right behind you. You'll be safe as houses.
Lex can drive our lorry, and the other driver could travel with you, Augustus.
I'm a very good driver.
I don't think Alfredo would be very happy with that. Okay, well, if you won't travel with me, so be it. He climbs up into the cab.
Okay, we'll get into our cab as well then.
Okay.
Oh,
Frosty.
Frosty.
So there.
Oh dear.
That was a real it's not us, it's you moment. Friend zoned him.
I wasn't
Okay.
particularly looking forward to sitting in the cab, just waiting for him to put the juju on me.
No, well, exactly. I think we are all. I think things are going to be coming to a head sooner rather than later.
I'll make sure my plan B is reloaded.
Okay, so you get into the trucks, and you are looking forward to your final day, leaving the coast behind.
Don't say that.
Final day's travel. Okay.
Lex, Stanton, I just wanted to say thank you for last night, and for particularly you, Lex. I didn't really think about it but you saved my life last night. And Stanton, thank you for patching me up. I don't think I'd be here without the 2 of you. I'm really grateful. Thank you.
It's okay, Jacob. We're a team now.
No trouble at all, old man.
But also, discretion is the better part of valor with these things. I think there are lots here that we do not understand. We should be cautious with everything that we examine or encounter.
Let's hope we don't need your doctor's bag again before this is over. Okay, you leave the coast behind, and head east into the mountains. It feels like you climb and climb and climb, ever steeper, more windy and rockier roads, higher and higher into the Andes. The stench of diesel is constant as the truck's engines labour under the strain of the ascent, and the ride is a rough one. The scenery, however, is breathtaking as the snow-capped peaks of the highest mountains loom before you like a voluminous gateway into another world. Stopping only for a brief toilet break in some conveniently placed caves, and again for Alfredo and Jose to remove some boulders that had rolled onto a particularly precipitous mountain road. Midday comes and goes, and as the afternoon wears on, you begin to find it noticeably more difficult to breathe as the air becomes thinner due to the altitude. Can you all make constitution rolls, please?
Yes. Yes, I can.
Okay.
I also
Fail.
succeeded.
Fail from me, thanks to that bloody engine. It did make the difference.
Yeah,
Did
pass for
anybody,
Santa.
so other than Jacob, did anybody else fail?
No.
Okay, Jacob, it's probably the lingering effects of the wound that you succumbed to last night, but also in addition that the altitude that you have quickly moved up to has quite a significant effect on you. To begin with, you find it quite difficult to breathe. You're like short of breath, and then you start to get a really bad headache and a kind of heavy, tired, feel really dizzy as well. And finally, as you approach the end of your journey, end of your destination, you begin to feel really nauseous. So yeah, you kind of, unfortunately, you've been affected by altitude sickness. So I'm making note of that for now. It will only come into effect really should you have to perform any kind of physical exertion. But yeah, it just doesn't feel very nice. You just say it's shortness of breath, dizziness, headaches, nausea, and kind of just not dealing with that really kind of swift change in altitude. And the rest of you feel slightly uncomfortable, but you don't actually have the full-blown altitude sickness.
I think something that may help, coffee. Next time we stop, get a good cup of coffee down you. You don't really want fluid to build up.
They have
I have some aspirin as well. That may alleviate
if you're suffering, Jacob, they have coca tea. The coca leaves relieve the worst symptoms of altitude sickness. Maybe we'll get some for you when we arrive in Puno.
I'll take anything that would help. I really feel rough.
Okay, as the light begins to fade, the trucks have made their way steadily through mountain passes and valley floors, along dried-up riverbeds and across immense plateaus and vast plains where llamas and alpacas graze in great numbers. Maize, potatoes and quinoa grow, and huge eagles and condor soar amidst the might of the Andes. As the light begins to fade, you reach the small city of Puno. The city is small. Jackson tells you around 20,000 residents. It's located at 12,000 feet above sea level. The city itself stretches back from the shores of the giant Lake Titicaca. Lake Titicaca is over 100 miles long, and Puno stretches back up into the overlooking hills. As you travel through towards the centre of the city, you can see that the more prosperous areas seem to be located closer to the water, the edge of the Lake Titicaca. The majority of the buildings in Puno are low 1- or 2-story structures made from stone or brick, and the streets they line seem to become increasingly narrow and more maze-like as they ascend the hill. So that would be, from what you can see, the lower parts of the city next to the lake are the more affluent areas, and the higher parts are where the poor people live. Eventually you pull down into a broad plaza ringed with neat greenery and trees, overlooked by the imposing edifice of the Cathedral Basilica of St. Charles Borromeo. So it's a very unusual city in its setting, but also the fact that the actual centre of the city has kind of shades of Lima with its grand architecture. But the main bulk of the city up in the hills is like almost slums with where the poor people live. Okay, you notice that the majority, as you're driving through the streets, the majority of the locals seem to be either Aymaran or Quechua Indians, all dressed in their colourful native woolen dress with their Montero hats that have a woven chin strap. So quite a different feel to this city compared to the more cosmopolitan European feel of Lima. But anyway, the trucks pull up outside the Calcatini Hotel at the heart of the city. The air is noticeably cooler here, so you get out of the trucks and actually it is almost cold because of the altitude and the fact that night is beginning to fall. You actually feel quite chilly, which is a marked contrast to Lima down on the coast. The Hotel Calcatini is one of the few 3-story buildings. You can see Larkin and his driver getting out of the truck. Presently, you check into the hotel where Larkin has booked 6 twin rooms on the 2nd and 3rd floor, and you begin to unload your stuff. You notice that as you're moving between the lorry and the hotel, that some of the locals seem to kind of give you a wide berth, and you see some of them when you catch their eye, they kind of look away or kind of make an effort to cross the street and walk on the other side. And you even catch some of them like crossing themselves as they pass.
Is that direct relate? Is that us, or is that our proximity to Larkin?
No, it seems it's all directed towards you. It's not necessarily Larkin. It just, even when Larkin's not there, there just obviously seems to be quite a fear of white Europeans here.
Can't blame us.
Okay, so you spend half an hour or so unloading all of your equipment. You've got to unload everything out of the lorries because the lorries are going back. And again, Larkin has also arranged for storage for these items in like a kind of garage area under the hotel. So you have to.
The bullet-ridden trunk.
Yeah.
Is that going back with the trucks?
Yeah. It's too big to carry, so it's like a 6-foot-long trunk. So yeah. Okay, so you get all of your supplies out and all your personal equipment. You've checked into the hotel. You've got all of your equipment stashed away. Larkin actually looks like he's being really quite badly affected by the altitude sickness. He looks even worse than Jacob does. And you've noticed that as the day goes on, he seems to get worse. That's kind of a recurring theme. But he is like really, really quite ill looking. With the bags under his eyes are particularly bad, and he's kind of he's holding on to things. He doesn't really do any of the lifting. He waits for the drivers to do that. He says, "I think I may have to retire early this evening. I'm not feeling particularly well. I suggest that we spend tomorrow preparing and gathering mules, etc., before maybe heading out on Saturday morning. Would that suit?"
Absolutely. Hope you feel better soon.
I am sure.
Make sure you have a good rest.
I'm sure once I have rested, my strength will return. I'll bid you good night.
Good night.
Good night, August.
He goes to his room. The lorry drivers have finished unloading, so they take their lorries. You don't know where they're going, but they're going somewhere else in Puno. It leaves you. The hotel itself is clean, pleasant enough, but a little basic compared to where you were staying before at the Mori. And there's hardly anybody here, really. It's not really. It's quite because it's so remote. There's not a huge amount of traffic, but yeah, it's just nowhere near the kind of levels of activity. But it's still pleasant enough. What are you going to do?
Well, for starters, I'm assuming that we are sharing rooms again as before. Given that we've unloaded our equipment, there's a bedroll and a bed in the room.
I think it would be wise.
Yeah.
2
rooms?
2 rooms,
We'll
yeah.
just split like we did before.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got 6.
Jack?
Yeah, we need to. Maybe we should move a bed into one of the rooms or something.
Would it be a bit obvious shifting furniture around?
True.
I say
Yeah,
2 and a 3.
Yeah.
Jesse and Stanton and Jacob
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be much use, so I probably should be in with the 3.
Yeah. And I better stay
Jackson,
close.
would you
to you,
mind
just
asking the hotelier if they could possibly get some of that? Was it cacao or the leaf you were talking
Oh yes,
about?
of course. I'm sure I will get you I'll get you some cacao,
cocoa
some tea straight away. He goes off to order cocoa tea.
Thank
He
you.
brings you back a pot full of cocoa tea.
Thank you, Jackson.
It will definitely help. It certainly has helped me when I have felt under the weather. The altitude really does make a big difference. You know, we are your bodies will not be used to being at this height.
I'll take tea.
So what do we do?
Well, I was about to
Do
ask
we
you the same
continue?
question.
Do we wait for Larkin to make his move? Because, to be honest, we are still in a situation where we need him to get us to the temple. Oh, actually,
okay.
is this not the town where your contact?
It is exactly that. So when my question was going to be, when do we go to speak to Naira? Do we wait till the morning, considering it is almost dark? If we've got tomorrow, we can potentially do that without Larkin. No.
Yeah. Well, we should be careful tonight in case Larkin decides to make a move. But yes, tomorrow, and then that will give us options, won't it? We can either, if she has nothing for us, then we can go forward with Larkin. If she does have a potential location, then we can decide whether we go with Larkin regardless, or we jettison him and go ourselves.
Yes, and if we have the location of the pyramid, then we also have a backup plan if we decide to take him with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you notice how the locals were giving you a wide berth when you arrived?
Yes, I did. I was wondering whether that was because they were aware of Larkin and his history in the area, or whether it was just because of how they don't like the sight of European foreigners in their town.
Yeah, the Quechuas and Aymarans, they are quite superstitious. The rumours, the legends of Karasiri are quite powerful here, and Westerners, pale-skinned Westerners, is how these creatures appear. So if you fear that you are being, if you feel there is fear,
it's not our imagination.
No,
is that what you're saying?
No, it is not. It is not.
So would the fear, would that come from the history that perhaps it was conquistadors that released the creatures from the temple, and that is why they manifest as Westerners?
Well, the conquistadors, from my understanding previously, the conquistadors obviously were hated because of the fact that they conquered the country, and therefore the antipathy manifested itself in these legends being created about white Europeans. It's quite common in colonial countries. Exactly that.
Devils on horseback.
But what we have learned in the last couple of days may suggest that there is more substance behind this hatred than mere rumours and stories, which is disconcerting to say the least. Yes. So whether they have seen evidence of what we have or not, I do not know. But I imagine they probably have. But it certainly explains why none of the locals are too keen to make the trip to the pyramid. I still can't help but feel that this is some kind of ruse. I know that seems stupid. This can't all be true. Some of the words that I'm saying are they really coming out of my mouth?
Well, if we hadn't seen it with our own eyes, I mean, if you were a scientist and you need evidence through observation, we have observed and we have seen evidence. Now, whether that makes everything else of the legends true, maybe not, but we know there is enough here going on that at least some of it is.
Yes. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I think some of it is still legend. I still feel like there's some sort of death cult activity going on here.
Most definitely, but whether or not that is a genuine worship of the supernatural or just folklore that is built up around legend, we don't know.
Anyway, do we think that we should let's strike out tomorrow morning and see what Naira has to tell us?
Yes, I think so. I think we should get an early night, and I'm thinking maybe we take it in turns in our respective rooms to keep watch.
Okay. Okay, so you eat your meal, you eat your evening meal, obviously at the hotel, and then you kind of retire fairly early.
I'm just going to ask Stanton, would you? It's been a day now since I was injured. Would you be so kind as to change the dressing just to help it heal?
Oh yeah, yes, certainly. I was planning to do that
Thank
before you retire. Yeah, I've got to change them every day, and tomorrow
Okay,
I'll look to see if there are
you're
any
pleased
more
with the
supplies.
when you change the dressing. You're pleased with the way that the way you've administered previously, and you're there's no infection, but you don't feel like the actual surface wound is really main cause of the malaise that Jacob feels. So it's not really a huge amount that you can do with what you've got to other than just hope that his body regenerates that, which has been forcibly removed from him.
It'll take a long time to build up your strength again, I think. And
No,
unfortunately,
it's
the
not
altitude
helping at
won't
all.
help.
Still that tea.
But how's that tea? Is
It's
it Moorish?
awful. but if it has the desired effect, I'll put up with that.
That's always my motto. The worse it tastes,
Jackson says,
the
"I
better
think
it is for you."
my appraisal of it was goddamn awful, to be honest. But I think so we're fairly close." Okay, right. So you're sleeping. The night passes. You're guarding and sleeping, and you'll be pleased to know that nothing untoward happens during the night. So you awaken the next morning on Friday, the 25th of March. Can I ask you, Jacob? You need to make a Constitution roll again with a bonus die this time.
That's a definite no. That's another D10, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, bugger, what's that one?
That tea's good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
a success then, yeah? Okay.
Is that 17, isn't
17,
it?
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a hard success.
Excellent. Okay, so you wake up feeling a lot better than you did yesterday. Your headache's gone, dizziness has gone, nausea, everything. You still feel a bit weak, but you feel that maybe more down to the attack by D. Mendoza than the altitude. The altitude sickness and kind of all those symptoms have gone. Yeah, you feel a lot better. The rest of you don't really. Even the only thing you can notice now is just like kind of you have to breathe a little bit harder. But other than that, you'll kind of become quickly acclimatized to the high altitudes.
Yeah. Do you think it'd be a good idea to purchase some of those leaves from the kitchen in case it comes back on our track?
It's magic, so yeah, definitely. It still tastes bloody awful though.
Goddamn, I think it's goddamn awful.
Well, yeah, I guess the locals have been here for a long time. So local traditional medicine in this case trumps our supposedly civilized.
Anybody want to do anything before you head out to? Well, are you all going to head out to Naira's house?
I think so.
Yeah, we'll stick together.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we'll let Larkin go.
You get up fairly early, and you're not surprised to find that Larkin isn't down at breakfast. He's not awake.
Although I'm just slightly worried about what you're saying. Maybe Larkin has got acquaintance, more of them. Keep an eye out for, well, obviously I was going to say anything out of the ordinary, but all the locals are shunning us. We wouldn't be able to tell the difference between local
anybody
and
that's not
agent.
shunning us, be concerned.
Yes.
You have your breakfast. It's a silly question, but I presume you're taking the gold bar with you, Lex?
That's correct.
In your backpack?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. Right, you head out of the hotel into the city.
And Jesse, if you know of a local pharmacy around here,
I'm sure we can find
just
one.
need to stock up on a few.
Okay, you start to head out of the lower part of the city, up the hill to the narrow, steep streets towards where Jackson tells you that Naira lives. As you begin to move away from the shores of Lake Titicaca, you can see that you turn and you've got an amazing view of the lake. It looks like a sea, effectively, because it affects the size of it. You can't see either the other side of it or either end of it. It's absolutely enormous. But the sun is shining and reflects a beautiful azure, sparkling azure blue off the lake. It's an amazing picture with the Andes Mountains in the background. You can also see the Uros, which are the floating reed islands that the lake is famous for. They're dotted across the lake as far as a couple of miles out from shore. Amazing views. You can feel the kind of nip in the air, though. It's definitely a good kind of maybe 7, 8, 10 degrees colder up here, even in the daytime, than it is down on the coast. The people, as you walk through the streets, you can see the kind of disparity in the appearance. There are some whites, kind of maybe some descendants from the Spanish colonialists. There are other kind of Incans, Aymarans, and Quechua. You can colourful costumes. You hear pan pipes, and then masks, and folk dances, all that type of thing that's going on. So it's quite a vibrant little place. But again, as I say, as you head away from the more affluent part of town, you see shutters are closed, and curtains twitch, and people move out back inside from doorways as you move up the street. As you're heading, following Jackson, you see a small boy who sits on the corner of a street crying. Can't be any more than about 6 or 7. He's dark-haired with large brown eyes. He's obviously he looks like one of the either an Aymaran or Quechua native, but he's really, really sobbing. And Jackson goes over to him and says something to him in Spanish. And there's a short exchange of words. And then the boy kind of wanders off with his head down. He's still crying, staring at his feet.
When Jesse comes back, ask him what that was about.
He says that his elder sister, Andrea, has been taken by the Pishtaco. That's what they call the Karasiri. It's another word for the same thing.
Oh, when did that happen?
He said she's been gone over a week. He doesn't have any parents. He's just left on his own in the street. Nothing much we can do about it.
No, but it does say that they are active in this area, which means we should be doubly on our guard.
It also says that they're branching out beyond their European roots as well. If that is true, and they're taking locals, that is
victims.
To your friend Jesse. No good leaving him out here in the street.
We can't take every orphan with us. Can we? There's going to be a lot of them here. I promised him that we would find her if we could.
No, but
she's 16 apparently. She was wearing a red and white pretty dress with red ribbons. Yeah. Keep her out for.
Yeah. Well, if she's been taken, she may have succumbed to the same fate as Rizzo. So let us hope that we don't meet her in those circumstances. We should move, like standing out here.
Yeah. That's okay. You carry on up the street. Okay, and eventually you come up a small cobbled alleyway, and Jackson says at the end of this alleyway is Naira's house. So you make your way up the steep alleyway, and before you get halfway along the alleyway, you can see that the last house, he points to the house on the right at the end of the alley, and you can see that all of the shutters are shut, and as you get closer, you can see that some of the windows are boarded.
Mm.
You're standing out in front of the house, looking around at the kind of small yard behind it. The upstairs windows are all the shutters are all shut. It doesn't seem to be any sign of any. It looks like it hasn't been inhabited for a while. Can you make a spot hidden roll, everybody, please?
So yes, from me.
Okay. Do we have it? Can we? Moving forward, can you tell me whether you get a normal or an extreme, or just what it is?
Yeah, normal.
Normal success. Okay. There's normal.
What's the word for
hard,
medium success?
Okay.
Hard.
Right.
So yep,
Cracking
hard
fail
for
for me.
I'm
Stanton.
not even sure where the house is.
You don't even know where am I? I thought I was in Lima. Okay. Jackson just looks at you, Stanton, and he says, "Yeah, I've seen him as well. That man across the street. Yeah, maybe I should go over and talk to him." Stanton, you've seen what looks like a local bearded man in colourful woolen clothing and a poncho. He's standing around, kind of half around the corner at the top of the alleyway, by a wall, and he's doing his best to make it look like he's not he's inconspicuous, but he's just literally just standing there, and every now and again he kind of lifts his hat and like looks from under at you guys, and then puts his hat back down again. He's not doing a very good job of being inconspicuous. He looks like he's watching. I think he's watching the house.
Yeah. For good purposes or
That's
bad?
a good question.
I guess
Shall I go
there's
and
one
talk
way
to
to
him?
find out. Yes.
I'll go
Douglas,
over with him,
you're quite good in these
I
situations.
can't, unless he speaks English, I'm not going to be a huge amount of use. Yeah, I'll go forward
reading
with
people.
him.
Okay, you go with him. Jackson approaches him in a kind of in a friendly manner. He initially looks as if he's deciding whether he's going to actually walk off or let you approach him. He decides to stay, and there's a short conversation occurs. While Jackson speaking Spanish, the man doesn't seem to speak Spanish very well, but there's the odd word. It feels a little bit like the conversation you had with the policeman back in the hotel earlier. Can you make a psychology roll, please, Douglas?
Absolutely. Oh, stormed it. That is a fifth.
Okay. The man's his body language is really furtive and suspicious, and even the way you can't really understand what he's saying because obviously you don't speak the language. But the way he's talking, his expressions, the way everything about him is just like he's not what he appears to be. It's just something that makes your hair stand up on end straight away. He walks, and Jackson ends the conversation and walks away and says, "What did you think of him?"
Very off. What did he say to you? Because he seemed very suspicious to me.
He said he'd come to see Naira because he's got an ill friend, and he was waiting for her to come back. But I don't know whether I believe that.
No, I wouldn't. Has he moved away, this guy?
Yeah.
And he only speaks the local language, I assume?
He speaks Quechua, but he speaks a tiny bit of Spanish. But I don't know. That story just didn't feel right to me. There's something about him that
no, not at all. But she's not there. I'm assuming the fact that he was watching. So where could she be? The fact that has she gone into hiding for some reason?
Yeah, well,
and if so, do you know where she would go?
Well, no, I don't. I think my only other port of call really is I know she's got some friends in the market who sell herbs for her healing practices. So maybe we can go and speak to them and see whether they have any idea. But it doesn't look to me like she's been here for a while.
No, but the only good thing about it is that if he was part of the death cult, then they don't have her either.
No.
So that the fact that she's not around may be good news rather than bad. But we should go and talk to her friends.
Yeah.
I don't think there is a huge amount of advantage in us watching the house as well. If she hasn't come back now, she's unlikely to whilst we observe.
Yeah, I agree.
Doubly so if there is already somebody watching.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Perhaps if we draw a blank with her friends, we might want to come back and have a look in the house.
Maybe so, but breaking in whilst it's being watched by somebody else may attract even more attention. But hopefully it won't come to that. Let's see what her friends have to say, if anything.
Okay, so you head back down from the hillside, the higher parts of Puno, down to the market, which is closer to the lakeside. It's kind of halfway between the lakeside and the poorer areas. And Jackson is quite busy down here. Actually, you can see that there are lots of lots of stalls, as you'd expect, selling all sorts of produce. A lot of produce from the lake, and obviously also produce from the farms around, and livestock, llamas, mules, etc. So you can see that in terms of this would be an ideal place to get any of your supplies and animals or whatever that you need for the further trip.
That old man, as he's staying where he was, has he been following us back down?
Okay. Yeah, no, you've got no
I'm
idea.
getting good at these.
Okay, everybody else can roll.
Definitely
as well.
not following.
So we
us,
can all
definitely.
try and get 100.
I don't think they can.
I've actually succeeded. A normal success.
Yeah, I've had a regular success too.
Regular success,
And what we're doing, spot hidden, was it?
Yeah,
that's a regular success as well.
regular.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That donkey needs oiling.
I think that was a comment on Stanton's roll.
Yeah, those of you with regular successes are quite. You notice that the man that you saw at the top of the hill, has actually. You didn't notice him following you, but now that you stopped in the marketplace, you can see that he is following you, but trying to keep his distance. Jesse says, "If you guys stay here, I probably need to go and speak to them, to Naira's friends on my own to start with, because they may be startled if I turn up with lots of white Europeans. No offence."
Should we perhaps lead our tail elsewhere so that he doesn't see you talking to her friends? We wouldn't want them to be.
What tail?
We're being followed by the gentleman who was who you spoke to previously.
Oh.
It's not the best hat to be wearing to remain inconspicuous.
It is here. Everybody's got one. Okay, well, I didn't realise that's absolutely, yeah.
So we will head off and then see who he follows.
Yeah, okay.
Although, is it safe, Jesse, for you to be walking around on your own?
I think so. I've looked after myself here numerous occasions.
Yeah, but you weren't with us previously.
No, it's true.
We appear to be bringing trouble with us.
I'll take the chance. It's not going to be for long, is it? In the middle of the market.
No. Very well. We'll meet back here in 10 minutes.
Okay, cool.
We'll loop away and see whether he follows.
Okay.
Might have to keep an eye on Jesse.
Yeah.
It's quite crowded, the market as well. Okay. You move away from the market and where Jesse is standing. You kind of keep looking back over your shoulder surreptitiously. You don't think he's followed you. You can't see him now.
Right, double backs, find Jesse.
Maybe if we split up 2 and 2,
yeah,
we'll have more chance of finding him.
More chance of picking us off.
Far, just thinking then.
How long are you going to leave him before you start to head back?
Well, literally the minute that we see that we ascertain that we're not being followed, I'm going to double back.
Okay.
Because if he's not following us, then he's following Jesse.
Okay. You head back. You start to go back to the market. Can everybody make another spot hidden roll, please? Consistent, anyway, Stanton.
Yeah, it's a no from me.
That's a yes from me.
Okay. Normal success.
Just a regular. Yeah, regular.
Okay. Right, heading back into the market. Douglas, the first thing that you see is you pick out the local that was following you originally. You can see him standing on the corner of a market stall, pretending to look at some goods, and you follow his eye as he kind of keeps looking up with his back to you. He's looking, and you can see beyond him, no more than maybe about 15, 20 yards away, is Jackson is talking to some 3 women on a stall. Okay, the local sees you. He turns around and sees you all, and then he puts down the produce that he's holding, and he kind of slips off into the crowd. But he's definitely saw you, and he also you can see that he's definitely watching Jackson as well.
Okay. Well, fortunately, I think we've just put those women at risk, but there's nothing we can do about that.
Well, we could just walk past.
No, there's no.
Jackson,
It
just let him
makes
know.
no odds, does it? We'll just wait until he's finished.
Okay. You wait until he's finished. So, you don't see the man doesn't return. He's watching, and presently Jackson comes back to the place you arranged to meet. Howdy. So Naira is currently. He looks over his shoulder, like conspiratorially, kind of leans in a little bit. She's hiding out on one of the Uros in Lake Titicaca. Apparently, there's been a lot of bad people about since I last visited here. I have a feeling that my seeking her out may have put her in danger.
I'm afraid we may have made things slightly worse because our friend who was following us did not follow us, but he continued to watch you. So it's possible that he may try to elicit the same information that you've just obtained from the women you were speaking to because he saw you with them. So if we're going to get Naira, we should do so quickly.
Okay, that's not good news, but yeah, we need to do that. We need to maybe...
Oh, perhaps we'll also warn, maybe you go back and warn the women that someone else might be asking questions and they should get their stories straight for sending them somewhere else.
Yeah, I'll do that. Okay.
That she'd left town.
Yeah, I'll speak to them. Okay, we need to get out to see Naira. We need to take a reboat, a balsa, out to her island. Yeah, I'll just go and tell him. He kind of turns and quickly scurries off.
How's everyone swimming?
Basic.
Well, yeah. Swam in the lake at home.
Well,
Let's
not rock the boat when we go out because I can swim as well, but I don't really fancy falling in.
Yeah, no, not really. I mean, the Zoros look quite amazing. I'm quite keen to get a closer look. They're a bit bigger than the duck house we have.
You're waiting for Jackson to come back. Again, can I get you to make a spot hidden roll, please?
Yeah, okay. That was a half success.
Oh, me too.
Okay, so that's a hard success, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So going regular, hard, and what's the fifth? So we got regular, half, and
extreme, according to the crib sheet you sent us the other day.
Who's got an extreme success?
Nobody.
No.
Okay.
Might have the crib sheet. Doesn't mean I actually read it.
So it should be half for a hard success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jacob and Douglas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So you're waiting for Jackson to come. Well, he's just gone back over to talk to the ladies on the stall again. When suddenly there's quite a few people around here, and the crowds are kind of they're quite dense. You suddenly see the glint of steel catches your eye, and you turn and you see two local men walking directly towards you, and you can see both of them, each of them have got blades in their hands. What are you going to do? So this is Douglas and Jacob. You're the only ones that saw this.
Okay, I turn, I draw my pistol, and I go and I shout, and I point my gun at them and shake my head.
Okay. What are you doing,
Jacob? Put my hand on my gun as well and just pull it out so it's visible.
Okay. Right. Okay. At the last minute, seeing that you've seen them approaching, they veer off, both of them in different directions. Run. They're more than about sort of 6-7 feet away from you, before they break into the crowd and run off, trying to use the crowd as cover. We
need to,
the rest of you. You see these two individuals now. They quickly kind of pushing past people, knocking people over and running away.
This is not safe for us.
It's alarming. Broad daylight.
We need to get out of here. I reholster my pistol.
Okay. Jackson returns after another couple of minutes. Says, "Right, let's go and get ourselves a boat."
Right. I would tell him what happened.
Yeah.
So we are attracting way too much attention. So we should move fast and be careful, and everybody keep your eyes open.
Yeah. The only thing is, if we go now, the possibility is that we could. I don't know. It's just, what do you think?
That we lead them to her.
Yeah. If you're.
Let's see if we can lose our tails.
Yeah.
Let's go to Can you lead us to a quieter part of town?
Yeah, I can do that, and then we can sit there. The problem is that we've drawn attention to ourselves because we've gone to her house.
Yes.
And now we've spoken to some of her other associates. So you're right. We probably need to kind of lie low for a bit, and then maybe come back at it.
Let's go find somewhere quiet and come back at a little later.
Mm-hmm.
But it can't be too late in case they follow the same leads that we're following.
I don't think so. Okay, we go and hang out in a corner bar for a bit, to try and let things die down.
Well, might as well pick up some more bandages and ointment, coca leaves.
Okay, you do that, and then you head back. When you think an hour or so has passed, you head back down to a different. The docks are fairly the kind of the lakeside is reasonably long, so you don't have to go to the same place by the market that you were before. And you're going to try and get yourself a boat. The balsa boats are big enough to take you all in them, so you can get.
Do we have to get somebody to control it for us, or we're going to just take it on our own?
We could probably better if we get somebody to do it for us. But then again, if we do that, then maybe we should take a couple and paddle them out ourselves. They're not that difficult. I've used them before. They're fairly easy.
Okay, well, let's do that.
There's no current or anything in the lake, so yeah.
Fine day.
From what I understand, the island is about 2 miles from here, so it's a fair old paddle there.
Well, we'll know if we're being followed. Let's go then.
Okay,
we'll have to paddle faster.
Jackson speaks to one of the locals, and presently you hires a couple of the balsa, the reed boats. Okay, and you get in the boat and start paddling out. So Jackson's going to go in one with who else wants to come in with Jackson? Maybe I'll take Jacob and me.
I'm not going to be much help in the in terms of paddling, but
that's okay. Well, I've done it before, so maybe I can.
Should we keep to the same split that we have previously? In that there's Stanton to help with Jacob. Yeah. Fine.
Makes sense. You're lucky it's me in the other boat and not my brother. One of his many laurels, captain of the rowing team at
unless they've got you rather than your brother, you mean?
Nasty.
You don't know. You haven't met him.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm just thinking that if he's a very good rower, it would be very helpful to have. Not slighting your other many fine benefits to the group, Stanton, particularly your medical ones. But who knew that we were going to need somebody who was proficient with a paddle?
As long as we don't find
I was wondering who was going to say that first.
Really?
It wasn't going to be me.
Okay.
I didn't realise. Spent my head too long in books.
Right,
I don't realise. Now I'm going to fall.
Okay, you leave the lakeside behind and start paddling out towards the Uros. There are lots of them, but it seems that Nyra has chosen to stay on one of the ones that are farthest away from the town.
Sensible lady.
Okay, Jacob, you notice as you've been kind of sitting, not really paddling, because you're not doing the paddling. That you've passed the first couple of reed islands. When you notice that there behind you is another one of these boats that's also done the same. It's past the first couple, and then the next, it seems to be heading in the same direction as you are. And there are other boats as well that are kind of going backwards and forwards from the islands. But as you go further out, you're going past more and more islands where boats are docking. And this one is still heading out. It's staying a fair distance away from you, but you definitely feel like you're being followed.
Stanton, Jackson, I think we've definitely got a tail. I've seen the same boat following us for a while now.
Okay, so let's let's stop at the next island.
Stop at the next island.
Or kind of Jackson gestures towards Lex and Douglas who are in the other boat to stop at the next island. Okay, you stop at the next island. Jackson says, "I think we got a tail," according to Jacob.
Not sure of it. Is there anywhere to hide on the island?
When you get to the island, some of the locals are kind of, well, two of them, like they don't let you disembark basically unless they recognise you. Jackson just says a couple of things to them, and they're happy for you to kind of stay in the boats, but they don't seem to want to let you get out. You notice that looking back, that boat that you saw, it's kind of hanging back. It's not moving any further forward. It's gone to another island, but they're not getting out either.
Right, do we try to paddle around this so we're obscured by this island where that boat is? And then
It's going to be difficult to
carry
lose
on?
them, but we've got to try something.
Yeah.
In front
Or
of
we
them.
paddle over
Well,
to that
yeah, we
boat.
could always just
across
head
the-
towards them and see what that does.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll back off.
Yeah, I'll back off and then
Or-
see which island we go to.
Split up.
We split up, and then whichever one he follows doesn't go to the island, and the one that he doesn't follow does.
Except for I'll have to go to the island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. He'll, as long as
the
he
problem
chooses
is
you
that
to,
from what we're
it'll be
saying,
right.
if they followed me last time, I have a feeling that they're following me because they know that I spoke to
Well, there is
Naira
that.
last time.
But does she speak English?
Yeah. No, well,
Well,
no, sorry, no, she doesn't. She doesn't speak English. She speaks Spanish. She doesn't speak English. No, she speaks Spanish.
She's at risk, though, anyway. I mean, it's pretty obvious that we're looking for her, and it's pretty obvious we're looking for her on one of the islands.
well, then we all go. How many people are there on the boat? The other boat?
2.
Well, we could take 2, couldn't we?
Perhaps we'll just have to take her with us, and she's going to have to find somewhere else to hide out.
Well, yes. Give her, if it's that dangerous for her here now, we can give her money to go to a different town for a period until the situation calms down.
We've put her at risk already, so...
Right, well, let's go and see her and see what these gentlemen have planned for us.
So we just forget they're there. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 2 of them, there's 5 of us, we're all armed.
Okay. So you paddle, you push off the current island that you were moored at, and you head back out into the lake. And sure thing, they do the same as well. Again, following you at a distance, but they're certainly following you. Eventually, after you've been paddling for a fair while, you come to the island that the ladies in the market told Jackson was where Naira is hanging out. And again, there's a as you approach the island, there's a committee of 4 locals that greet you. It only takes a few exchanges from Jackson. You can see that at least 2 of the men seem to recognise him, and they help you pull your bolster boats up onto the island itself, which is made completely of reeds. And there are 7 huts on this island altogether. You find the sensation of walking on the reeds really weird because the islands like move. They move slightly. They give when you walk.
Does Jesse think we should tell these people about the people following us, or would
They already know that some bad people are looking for Naira. They will keep a watch. Okay, you're going to head. One of the locals takes you to the hut. Takes you to one of the huts on the island. Okay, Jackson is greeted by a diminutive, native-looking lady. She's a grey-haired. She's no more than about 4.5 feet tall, with a wide, smiling face, and a face that has cracks and lines all over it. She seems quite taken aback by the fact that he has brought strangers with him, but a few words from him, and he takes her aside, and you're welcomed inside. She lets you into a hut. You can hear the sound of panpipes playing from maybe some of the other one of the other huts. There's a lamp which affords the only light in hut. There's no window here.
can I stay at the door? I want to watch to make sure that the visitors don't make it to us
Okay.
without us being aware.
that'd be a good idea.
Well,
Maybe
I'll
two people
keep watch as well, because I know what I'm looking for as well.
Okay. Okay, she hands around some pieces of dried meat to you all, and then some strange corn beer, which is absolutely disgusting, but you drink it anyway.
I'll crack a tooth on the dried meat and try
she
to
doesn't,
keep
as I said,
the
she doesn't
beer down.
speak English, so Jackson has to translate and starts to talk to her. You hear kind of the word Karasiri and Pishtaku in the conversation quite a lot. And she reaches into a box that she's sitting on. It's like a safe box. When Jackson asks something about, and she brings out it looks like a very crude map. And Jackson's like seems really pleased. He says he kind of gives her a hug as she hands him the map. They kind of talk over it together. He turns to you guys and says, right, so we have the location of the... she says that the place that we're searching for is called the Iarque de Huaca, the Pyramid of Hunger. She nods and starts chattering on. She speaks to him for quite a long time, and you see he's struggling to understand. And he's relaying you this story that Nyra is telling him of an ancient and evil god fell from the sky and landed in Lake Titicaca. It crawled out and brought hunger with it, devouring all it touched. The trickster hero Ikoku told the evil god where the most nutritious food could be found underground, showing it tubers and grubs. Ikoku convinced the god from the sky, tempted by the food, to crawl into an old armadillo burrow. He then placed stones over the burrow, trapping the god below. Ikoku told the people that this was now a sacred site and had them build a temple over it, binding it in place with spells worked in gold. The god from the sky still lives underneath the temple to this day, and those who know of it are wise enough to avoid its tomb. Consequently, few, if any, people from Puno go anywhere near the pyramid, which is the reason it has largely become a forgotten site. Jackson relays this story that Nyra tells him. He also asks her about the Karasiri. Nyra explains that the word Karasiri comes from the term for carving something up with a knife. She tells Jackson that the Karasiri are known throughout Peru and Bolivia, although their names and descriptions change from region to region. The archetypal Karasiri, according to Nyra, is a tall white man wearing a wide-brimmed hat. He carries a long knife that he uses to butcher people and steal their body fat. Alternatively, he may drug people and extract their fat using magic or strange tools, leaving them to die slow, lingering deaths. The stories Nyra has heard firsthand tell of a Karasiri who sucks the fat out with his mouth, like some kind of human leech. Nyra knows that the people in the area were quick to accuse the conquistadors of being Karasiri, stealing the fat of locals to treat their wounds or grease their weapons. Later tales told of Karasiri priests using stolen fat to make holy oil or as offerings to their gods. The main common factor in all these stories was that the Karasiri were white men, usually Spaniards. Since Nyra pointed out Luis de Mendoza to Elias as a suspected Karasiri, she believes that she has been followed. This is why she has gone into hiding on this island. Most disturbingly to Nyra, some of the people who she believes to be following her do not fit the classic description of Karasiri. This either means that the legends are incomplete or that their influence is somehow spreading. So Jackson tells you those stories. We have the location, we have the map. I have thanked Nyra on our behalf. What do we think that she is safe here?
Well, no. I think you should tell her that we have been followed. If she feels that she could be protected here, fine. But because we have put her in danger, we can provide her with the means to find somewhere else to stay.
She seems reluctant.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, she
may not want to leave.
She seems reluctant to. She said. He turns to her and says that, and she says she can't keep running. There's nowhere left to go.
How does she have any idea of numbers of people that have been seeking her out? We are aware of at least 3.
He asks her. She says maybe as many as 10. Some Spanish-looking, others natives.
What does fit, Jackson, with your
It's an Irish
suspicions
choice,
of
isn't
cult?
it? Whether she runs or stays.
It's Jesse, could you ask if there's anything we can do for her to help keep her safe? Whether she needs money for protection or to pay for protection. If not, we shall try to lure them away. But anything we can do to help her before we leave.
He relays that to her, and she says she does not know, short of banishing the Karasiri. She does not know how else you can help. She does not need our help. She says she will use her faith to protect her.
I fear that may not be enough. But if these tales are true, and there is this something underneath this pyramid, then we should return the gold, and perhaps that will lessen the power that the death cult is drawing on, either symbolically or materially.
Jackson, could you ask her if she's heard of any folk tales that linked with the Karaseri about people being able to hypnotize or control other people?
He asks her that question. You see her shake her head violently. She says that they are not that subtle. Legends tell that they are hungry beasts.
Well, gentlemen, we've got a decision to make, haven't we? I think we've already decided, haven't we, that we're going to the pyramid. Do we go with ourselves, or do we go with Larkin?
I still think we should keep our enemy close on that respect. If we go by ourselves, we'll probably just find out that Larkin's following.
If he can, because he couldn't have anybody to that he needs us to get there, doesn't he? I mean, we could abandon him and he may not even be able to follow us.
We could leave today and steal a march on him.
We don't know if he actually has allies in the in this Karaseri here.
That is true. If we left today, you're right. If we left today, he might not even know that we've gone until tomorrow.
Then it'll be too late.
Then it'll be too late. We'll be gone. So that might be a good idea.
I think we can assume he'll follow, but whether he'll follow on his own, he might be delayed in terms of trying to muster up some alternative assistance.
And also, if we are going to end up having to defend ourselves, I would rather that we did it out in the wilds rather than in a town. Again, although I drew my weapon, there was no way I was going to fire in a crowded market. I think in the open we stand more chance of seeing our enemy and separating them from innocent bystanders. So I think we should leave as soon as possible, take our gear and go. I'm not sure how we can acquire mules that quickly without being noticed, but if we can.
Jackson says, he relays this to Naira. Naira says that she has friends who could lend us animals.
That would be fantastic, and then we could take possession of them on the edge of town so it isn't obvious.
What time of day is it now?
It's kind of coming up to midday.
Which will give us...
Yeah, I need to somehow get the equipment to the edge.
To get any kind of lead on him.
Well, he wouldn't travel in the night anyway, would he?
No, I mean, he may not travel on his own either tomorrow. He may need to try and get other allies before he comes after us.
Well, let's move as quickly as we can.
Are we sure? I mean, Lex does make a point about keeping our enemies close.
I personally like the plan. I've had enough of that stinking, rotten slab of meat.
He will slow us down. And there is... What would we do? What would we do with him once we got there?
This is it. I mean, all I'm concerned about is that he knows that we are onto him, but he still wants to take us to the pyramid. There must be a reason for that.
And it sounds like it is more than just for 5 pairs of hands to carry things.
Let's take a vote then. Those who wish to leave Larkin behind, say aye.
Aye. It's a difficult choice,
Aye.
but I think on on balance, that's the better one from my point.
Lex, it appears that you are the only one who would rather have him with us. Which is why
I think
I
we
would
all
like
need to be agreed.
hear Lex's view on why.
Well, I said why. I was just believing that keeping our enemy close, see what he's going to do, rather than him potentially coming upon us on surprise and sort of looking out of our shoulder. It's not an opinion that I'm particularly precious about. I can see both sides.
But if it's just him coming with us, there are 5 of us. Whereas if we leave him behind, we don't know who he's going to. We assume that he needed us because none of the locals trusted him. But as if some of the locals are now
that is true as well.
men. But then if we take him with us, he comes with us, and the bad men follow.
Yeah, we
he's
don't
arranged
even
for them
know
to
that
follow
those
anyway.
bad men are involved with him anyway.
No,
Yeah, the other thing
we
that
don't.
the other thing that
I don't
concerns me
know.
is staying here overnight.
That is a concern because somebody's already made one attempt on our life.
Jackson
we definitely do
relays
have
all that
bad
to
men here.
Naira. She says she is sorry that she cannot help us make this decision. It is one we must.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Neither is an attractive option, really. But I still favour leaving. Just
We better go.
Yes.
Let's take the journey back to think about it, and hopefully we can make a solid decision by the time we return.
Okay. Jackson thanks Naira for her help. Hugs her, and they speak a bit in Spanish, and then she smiles and she gives you all a hug. You're gonna head back out.
Yeah.
Okay. Lex, can I get you to make a spot hidden roll, please?
To my great surprise, I have succeeded in my spot hidden roll.
You've succeeded. Okay. You come out of the all of you come out of the hut, and you're making your way back across the island to your boats. Lex, you glance down to the side of the island. You're right near the water, and suddenly you see something moving in the water. There's somebody in the water, and an arm comes flying out of the water, trying to grab you on your ankle. You're lucky that you see it, you see a girl with dark hair and wearing a red dress emerge from the water. She kind of hisses with a horrible, opens her mouth like she's some sort of beast, and you need to you need to decide what you're going to do. You can either dodge out of the way, she's trying to grab you, or you can try to fight back by doing whatever you want to do.
So she's grabbing my ankles. Does that mean her head is low down?
Yeah, she's in the water. She's coming out of the water and trying to grab you.
I'll kick out at her.
Okay, you're going to fight back. Yeah,
Fight back.
Yeah, can you make a attack roll then, please? Brawling.
I have made a hard success. A hard success.
Okay. So what were you going to try and do?
Kick her in the head.
Okay. So the fact that you see her means that you're ready for her. She comes for your ankle. You basically just pull your leg back and smack her in the face. Roll damage.
2. Oh, plus damage bonus. 6.
6 damage altogether. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Your foot crashes into her face, like splinters her nose. What you can? Yeah. So it's your attack. She kind of obviously falls back into the water slightly, surprised by the swiftness of your response. What you can do? You can either.
I'll back off now. That was kind of my instinctive. Oh no! Kick out, but now I'll back off and put some space between myself and her, and alert the others.
Step back away from the water's edge.
Okay, so you're just moving away. Okay. Okay. She's good. So Douglas, what are you doing? You've seen this young, well, she's like a teenage girl come out of the water, snarl in a kind of bestial manner. and then be kicked in the head by Lex as he moves back. What are you doing now?
Has she gone into the water, back into the water, or is she still coming?
Her head's still above the water at the moment, but her arm isn't.
Okay, I'm gonna just back off until she gets onto land.
Okay. Okay,
I should draw a kosh as well. Sorry.
She clambers out. She even though she's just been kicked in the face. How much damage did you do? 6, was it?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Yeah, even though she's been kicked in the face, she still just clambers out of the water with surprising speed, and is now and runs straight across the short distance between the island's edge, heading straight at Lex. Okay, and Lex tries to grab your bag. Can you make you can either fight back or you can dodge.
I will fight back. Oh, I have not succeeded.
Okay, and she has not succeeded also, which is lucky for you. Okay, she makes a grab for your rucksack, and even though you try to swing at her, but you miss her and she doesn't manage to grab your rucksack. Okay, so we're now looking at Jacob. What do you want to do?
I'm going to just step back. I'm not really up for a fight at the moment.
Okay,
I'm just going to back off. I'll go and put my hand on my gun just in case it really escalates.
Okay, Douglas, you backed away, waiting to see what happens, so you can do something if you like.
I'm going to try and hit her in the head with my kosh.
Okay.
So Jesse and Stanton still in the hut.
So she's going to try and dodge.
Yeah, pretty effectively, I'd have said, because I rolled.
So you've missed anyway.
80, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I missed. Yeah.
She didn't dodge either, so it's okay. But
it's a classic fight.
You swing the kosh. She kind of she just stumbles anyway, and the kosh doesn't strike her. Okay, Lex, it's your action. What do you want to do?
I shall attempt to knock her out.
Punch her, you mean?
Punch, yeah.
Okay.
I've succeeded.
Okay, she's going to try and dodge that though. Okay, was yours a normal success?
Yes, it was a normal success.
Okay, and hers was... Actually, she doesn't try and dodge it. Instead, she fights back, but she fights back by trying to grab the bag again, which I'm going to roll again because I didn't realise I couldn't do it. So I'm just going to roll now. It's a fight back. You've got a normal success. She has got a fail. Okay, so her attention is so fixated on your rucksack that she doesn't even see your haymaker making its way towards her. Roll damage.
7.
How much?
7.
7 damage.
Yeah.
Okay.
You do more damage with your guns than we do with guns.
Right. The ferocity of your haymaker literally just you connect straight under her jaw and you knock her straight to the ground. Yeah, okay. She lies on the ground, face bleeding. You can see you can now see her, the pretty red ribbons that were once pretty, like kind of hanging languid, soaking wet, and obviously blood's dripping down on what was once a pretty teenage girl's face. You see her dark eyes look up at you pleadingly. Okay, right. So, yeah, Douglas, what are you going to do?
Okay, is she still conscious?
She's still conscious, yeah. Actually, Stanton, sorry, you can do something now if you want before Douglas acts. You're the next one out of the hut. What you can see obviously the scene that I've described. The girl is sprawled on the ground. She's still conscious. She's like at Lex's feet, bleeding profusely from 2 wounds on her face.
So what's going on? Is that orphan boy's sister? What happened? I'm walking towards, pull out my pistol, and scan around.
Some of the other locals are rushing towards the scene, but they're at the far end of the island where the boats were. You're just holding your pistol there, then, yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
She's alive.
Is she alive?
saying that.
Is she one of them?
That's fine.
saying to the
So you're not
others.
doing anything, just
Is she-
standing there talking. Douglas, what do you want to do?
I am going to get my handcuffs out
Okay.
and see if I can cuff her.
Okay, so
if she moves like she's trying to get up or anything like that, I'm going to try and put the cuff on her with my left hand, but I'm holding my kosh. So if she moves, I'm going to hit her in the face with the kosh.
Yeah, you can see she's already starting to try and get up. She's been knocked down, but she's getting back up again.
In which case, I'll just hit her straight in the face again then.
Okay, what, punch?
If she stops trying to get up. No, kosh.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a definite.
Is that an extreme success or a hard success?
It's a hard success.
Well, she's going to fight back. She gets just a standard success, so you win. So kosh damage.
Kosh damage is going to be 1d8. 5.
Plus, is that plus your damage bonus, or have you not got one?
I don't have a damage bonus.
Okay. You smack her on the top of the head with the kosh, and you feel something give in her skull. Yeah, and you literally just knock her straight back down onto the reed island with blood now pouring out of her ears, and as blood starts to come out of her nose as well, you see that she's this kind of sickly white ichor, almost like fat-like ichor, starts pouring out of her mouth as well.
Okay, I back off at that point.
As she rolls over on her side in her death throes, lying on her back on the reed island, you can see that her stomach is quite bloated as well, and this kind of this white fat-like substance is just like pouring out of her, like she's vomiting it out basically.
Okay, I'm just going to stand. I'm standing back at that distance.
Lex, grab the bar and use that on her before it bursts out.
She's now lifeless.
Oh, so there's no evidence of worms.
No, there's no evidence of worms. She's almost like vomiting like fat out.
Are any of the locals seen this?
Yeah, they all come as they see this. They all start to back up, and you hear them go, "Pish tackle, pish tackle." Some of them jump into the water. And some of them get in boats and start paddling away, screaming "Pish tackle" at the top of their voice. They're absolute abject fear.
There are different types of these creatures, aren't there? So this one's just been fed fat.
Jackson comes out of the.
Yeah,
Use
the bar. Put that on her.
He shepherds Neighbour back into the hut, so she doesn't see the rest of the locals that lived on this island have all left, either jumped in the water or got into the boats.
Don't blame them. I would probably do the same. Lexi, it probably, if she can get back up again, we should probably just see what effect that bar has on her. The fact that she was trying to take it is important, but we can't have her getting back up again.
Okay. Well, let's get it out and just touch it gently to her hand or something and see if it does anything.
Okay, you get the bar out and it does exactly what it did to Di Mendoza. It starts to burn her straight away.
Oh, okay.
Okay, she needs to. We need to destroy the. We need to destroy her.
Put it on her chest like I did with Mendoza.
Let's drag the body a little further away from the water so that nothing else can jump out near us.
Okay, you're going to try and get into the middle of the island again.
Yeah. So we've got a bit of distance. So anything that comes for us, we can see it coming.
Okay.
How long did it take to disintegrate De Mendoza last night?
About 10 minutes.
Yeah, about 10 minutes. Yeah.
So I think we should get out of here quickly, but perhaps we destroy her first.
Yeah. Yes. Also, if she was on the, how could she have been in the other boat, or was it 2 men in the other boat?
You couldn't see. They never got close enough for you to be able to see.
Right. So there's at least, assuming she was in the boat, there's at least one more lurking. So for the 10 minutes that we're going to be here, we should keep an eye out.
Yeah.
Okay. So
and also make sure that our boats are still around. Can we see our boats?
You can see your boats. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes.
Although the only 2 boats left.
Well, keep an eye on them to make sure nobody tries to take them.
To look after those.
Okay. That's a good place to finish it, I think.
With the death of an innocent girl, the danger of the Calasari comes into sharp relief for the players. What will happen next time as we decide to abandon Larkin and head to the pyramids ourselves? Join us next week on Steady Rolling Man presents The Masks of Nyarlathotep.